Hi there, and welcome back to the Girl&Gallery Podcast. I'm your host, Lucy, and today we're at the Art Hotel London in Battersea Power Station, sitting down with a guest who I'm quite excited to speak to today. Hugo Barclay is the Fair Director of the Affordable Art Fair, and with anticipation of their Hampstead Fair quickly approaching, let's get into it. Hugo, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So I would love to hear about your journey in the art world and kind of where it all started.
Well, we go back, way back. So my parents I grew up in a creative family. My parents are artists.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
so
cool.
so I grew up in France. It goes back to that, really. It's growing up as a kid in a home where both your parents are artists, and seeing them make work.
Are they painters?
They're painters. Yeah, exactly, painters. Yeah, so they're both painters, but not full time. They also do other work. So like most artists,
passion painters.
Yeah, exactly. So that was probably where it all started. Lucky to be an art scholar at school, so there was always art as part of my story throughout.
Yes.
But studied business at university and always more interested in the commercial side of the art world.
Okay. The workings of it.
The workings of it, exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What interested you in that part of the art world?
As we talk about, passion artists, I'm very aware of the reality of visual artists, and 99% of visual artists struggle to make their art their full-time thing.
Yeah.
And that was something that I saw through my parents.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I'm really passionate about is actually trying to find ways and models to create a platform, essentially, to help artists make a living from their practice, from their work.
So would you say that that's, I guess, what led you to want to work at the Affordable Art Fair?
Yeah, certainly. Absolutely, yeah. So that was a big raison d'être, but also the accessibility side of things. What makes the Affordable Art Fair so great is that it's a really welcoming place for people to come and discover art. So whether you're an art buyer or you're not, you just want to discover art, you can go there and you can feel comfortable asking rudimentary questions, normal questions that in another environment you might not feel so comfortable. Yeah.
So for those listening who may not have seen the fair yet, can you tell us about it? Like what is the Affordable Art Fair?
Yeah, well, we have 14 worldwide.
My goodness.
Yeah. So there's 3 in London, and the next one is on Wednesday in Hampstead.
Cool.
And so for the one in Hampstead, 96 galleries will be participating, and so they bring their represented artists that show. Yeah, exactly.
So it's galleries coming to the fair rather than the direct artist.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's about 95% galleries, and then we have 5% where we work with art collectives.
Okay.
Yeah. So
art collectives, as in, what would that be exactly?
Groups of 3 to 4 artists typically, who essentially come together, and they want to show their work. Yeah. So, and with them, we tend to hold their hands a little bit more. And we have to, we vet the work that they're going to bring, because they tend to be more at the earlier stages of their career, and they may not have done fairs before.
So it's like an entry point for an emerging artist to come in.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, cool. So when it comes to directing an art fair, what exactly does that entail for you?
So much. And it kind of depends on the cycle of where we are in the year. So at the moment, we're a week out from the fair. So a lot of the things are operational. So, we're building this massive tent. It's 2.5 the size of a football pitch.
Oh, wow.
Is the size of our tent. And so it's a pretty big operation.
You're building a building.
We're building a mini art city. Mini art city.
I like that better than a building. We'll go with that, a mini art city.
It's basically a destination. So you come and you come for the afternoon. So you can come with the family. We do face painting on the weekend for kids.
Oh, nice.
People will come if they're walking their dogs. They can come with their dogs, and it's just a really welcoming environment for people to discover art for the first time, or people who are looking specifically for work for their home.
No, it's really sweet that you said that about the face painting, because I've always found it so important to introduce children to the creative arts, and whatever it may be. It might not be a painting, it might be theater, but to have a space for them to experience it so young. And after you telling us earlier that your parents basically you grew up in it almost. Like, how has that kind of affected your journey?
Massively. I mean, because it just becomes part of you, right?
Yeah.
And because, you know, kids are sponges in the earlier years of their childhood, you know. So, you know, one of the things that we work on is, so we have activity packs for kids. So there's a trail that kids can go and do, and they can find art that has fruit in it, for example, or this or that. We have, you know, these really cute art champion crowns that kids can wear, and there's all sorts of fun things. And it's just a way to help create curiosity for kids, but also, you know, something, you know, in a world where we're, you know, really overconsumed with stuff, and, you know, iPads and phones are so accessible for kids. Actually, it's a really nice way to put that stuff away and actually focus on creativity.
Oh no, I love that. I just think, because even for myself, like, I'm not an artist, but I had exposure to it quite young, and I really do think that it directly impacted.
In what way? Through going to museums, or
definitely through going to museums. And I think whenever I hear someone else that kind of had, even, I think you had it a little more than I do with the artists in your house rather than your parents taking you to go see them, but it really does hit you early when you kind of experience like visual creativity, because you, like monkey see, monkey do. You see a painting, you think it's cool, you see these colors, you get a hold of your crayon box, you're gonna go wild in the best way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think it's really special that you guys have
it's about
family activities and stuff.
Not double question. You're not questioning yourself as a kid. Exactly. So for me at home, you know, where, you know, your parents are artists, you know, you don't question it. You just, you're creative. You play. You're outside. You're doing things, and it is what it is. Exactly.
Yeah. And I actually spoke with an artist recently who said that her grandfather was an artist, and she just opened up a show in a new gallery. So like, you both now are my perfect examples of like, it really is so important to get that exposure to be able to like open your mind and accept something that's so open from such a young age.
Yeah.
Because think about all the artists at the fair. They probably all have a similar story of discovering it so young.
Yeah, definitely. So for many, I guess not all, you know, it's hard to put a big broad brushstroke, but yeah, no, for many of them, they'll have that, and they'll have mentors, whether it's, you know, really at the early stages, or their tutors from art school and so forth.
Yeah. So is there any kind of art that you feel particularly connected to?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it changes often.
Yeah.
Because
does it?
Yeah, because I like a lot of art, and I see a lot of art. For me, I grew up in France, and I now live in Scotland, and I obviously spend a lot of time in London. So for me, I'm really drawn to art that crosses cultures. So, you know, that looks at kind of cross-cultural dialogue, and how, you know, that speaks about its individual culture. So from a subject matter side, that really resonates to me, because my roots have been all over. So that work speaks to me. And then, you know, I like different process-based works as well. And you know, beauty is across medium. So I'm not, you know, particularly tied to just photography or just oil paintings. So, you know, in my collection, I have photography, I have oil paintings, I have prints too. So, so I'm, I guess, medium agnostic, you could say.
I like that term.
But yeah, from a subject matter, it's work that's across culture. And then I am also a little bit biased towards artists that come out of Scottish art schools.
Fair enough.
I live in Edinburgh, and I support artists from over there. And there's some great Scottish art schools. So that, you know, that helps get them in the door, you know, when it comes to my taste.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. There's an artist who I've been a little bit in love with recently, Frances McGurn. Have you seen her show?
I haven't, no.
Oh, it's at one of it's in Mayfair right now. And I literally want to take the entire gallery and stick it in my apartment and live in it. It's so cool.
Is it immersive?
No, but yes. I think it is, because to be honest, when it comes to immersive stuff, I think it's really like one or the other. Like, I'm gonna really like it, or I'm gonna not.
Right.
Like, sometimes I think immersive can be overwhelming, and you lose sense of like what exactly it is that you're looking at. I think that this show in particular she's painted literally outside of the lines, like she's painted onto the walls.
Okay.
And it's all very figurative, but like abstract figurative.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's women kind of like there'll be a leg or an arm or whatever, but in like a really like line drawing kind of way.
Gestural?
It's just, I guess so. But there's a word I'm trying to think of and I can't, but it's kind of very loungy in a sense, like really beautiful, almost, it's like they kind of make me think of a fainting chair.
Okay.
I think that's the best way I could explain it. It's like they have the attitude of a fainting chair, but with a bit of sass to them. Because they're really long, sleek lines of like female form. Yeah. But bright colors, and there's cigarettes kind of coming off the wall, but you don't notice that until the immediate. And there's couches that she's painted on.
Okay, wow, nice.
So it's like, I think that's my favorite kind of immersion, where the artist has designed the whole room rather than designed what's on a projection that you're looking at.
Well, it's similar to where we are here in our hotel. Because our hotel, it's an artist called Jamie Hayon.
Okay.
Yeah, and so basically he designed everything from the furniture to the art to everything in this whole space. So where we're sitting.
He designed
everything.
As in the interior, or he made the furniture?
He designed the interior, the artwork, everything.
No way. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I didn't know that.
So it's their main artist for the hotel.
Gotcha.
So they've got a big art program as well, but they have a main artist that helped. That was the inception and the idea of the hotel.
And you guys partnered together.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So how long have you been partnering with the hotel?
Quite recently, actually, this year.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah. So they've only recently opened because the Battersea Power Station just opened too. So they opened with the Battersea.
Right, which is our view over there.
Which is our view. Yeah. And because the Battersea Art Fair is literally 200 meters away, it just meant, and they have such a grassroots-based art program. There was just so much cohesion. So we partnered together.
It was really nice to kind of come into a space like that where the art was part of the room rather than an accessory onto the room. Yeah. Which is something that I think more people maybe are starting to pay attention to, obviously after like the big bad experience that we've all had, that which shall not be named. But the people, I think, are starting to pay a little more attention to art in the home and turning to places like the Affordable Art Fair to do so. Because art can affect your home in so many ways. I mean, how do you see art affecting the home?
In every way possible, really, because, it's so emotive and it can change the way it's like music, and all creativity changes the way you feel. And so, it's essential to have it in your home. And with the Affordable, it's just a great place to go and find and discover art for the first time. So, in your previous question, which was, what's it like when you go there? It's, not feeling intimidated goes across also price bracket too. So people can, they can go and they can buy a limited edition print for 50 quid, but then that will go up to, we cap it to £7,500. And obviously there's everything in between. The more expensive bracket is for originals, and everything in between. So it's...
So what kind of artists can people see there? Is it a collection or any particular style?
Well, with 96 galleries, that means about, there's circa 1,000 artists that are represented at the fair. And so we have photography focused galleries. We have galleries that focus their program around painting, others more sculpture, and others are subject matter specific.
Cool. So are you involved in the curation of that then?
A little bit, yeah. Okay. So I sit on the selection committee, and we have, an internal selection committee that vets all of the artists that show at the fair. Yeah. So, we have a bit of a say on that front, but ultimately the artists are coming from the galleries and who they're putting forward.
Gotcha. Yeah. So speaking of curation, I have a very exciting question for you. My favorite thing, as our listeners will know to ask, if you could curate any exhibit anywhere in the world, no limitations of Earth, what would you do?
On Earth.
It doesn't have
to be. I think I stay on Earth because I know that I know that humans have an appreciation for art. I can't speak for aliens.
Fair enough.
I'd say so one of the places. So I recently came back from New York. I was visiting the Affordable Art Fair in New York a few weeks ago, and one of the places I love in New York is the Chelsea Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much you know about the history of the Chelsea Hotel, but they have from their inception, they basically worked at bringing together this ecosystem essentially of artists, but also the middle class New Yorkers that were living there too. And it was all about how creativity can cross different social classes, but also monetary classes and all sorts. Has no boundaries. Yeah. So a specific place I wouldn't necessarily say, but I'd love to have an environment where I can bring together people from all different places on a social scale or political scale, all these things in one place. Excuse me, and really appreciate art for what it is.
Yeah. So like almost take away the context and make it just about what happens in the space between the viewer and the painting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's really beautiful. I like that.
And to create an environment where art brings people together.
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
Oh, that's really. Can I come?
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to this. Hopefully we'll be able to see that soon.
Yeah. Start the affordable on Wednesday.
Of course, yes. I'm excited to go. I'll be there this weekend.
Yeah.
Hugo, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks, Lucy.